All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Eder Martinez. I am a former student at UC Berkeley. I wrote this paper with my advisor by the time, with Iris Tomelin, and with a colleague from Ecuador, Ariana Alvear, who was managing the project that we used for this case study. Before going into the content of the paper, I would like to provide you a little bit of background of this research. This paper is framed in a research that I conduct about the implementation of lean principles to deal with the issues of affordable housing that we have in Latin America. As you may know, in Latin America, several countries are struggling to provide shelter to the population. According to figures of the United Nations, currently 25% of families cannot access to decent housing, which is kind of striking considering that shelter is a basic human need. So in order to deal with this issue, governments and affordable housing developers have adopted the use of mass housing production. By using mass housing production, the builders can save time and some cost of the project, and they can produce faster and cheaper. Nevertheless, we are now addressing this type of issues of such approach. This is it's not a Photoshop. This is a real picture of a development in Mexico, in Ixtapaluca. And this type of developments are a result of this mass housing production approach. So there are significant issues more related to the social aspect of families that are living in this development. Some of these developments, massive as they are located in the periphery of the cities, and people living there have relatively limited access to basic social systems like education or healthcare. There are many other problems actually related to the same approach. Actually, some designs of these houses do not match the needs of the customer, which are the low-income households. In this picture, you can see a desperate effort of the father of this family to provide more space to family members. So on the one side, the mass approach have helped us in our region to increase and to scale up housing production, and we have been even able to reduce housing shortages. That is, for example, the case of my home country, Chile. But we are producing side effects like the one that I just described. So how can we move forward? How can we improve the approach that we are following now? There is a report of the Inter-American Development Bank, and this report explicitly recommends governments and developers in the region to increase the variety of options that we offer to low-income households. That means providing some sort of customization without losing the concept of mass production, which is a little bit contradictory. So then the question is, how can we do that? And that is why I put myself in a plane 2 years ago, and I moved to Ecuador, and I started working with an affordable housing developer in the region. And this is the project that we use for this case study. This is a project called Villa Hermosa, and it's located in DURAN, 20 kilometers from Guayaquil. And the development involves the construction of about 10,000 housing units in a time span of 8 to 10 years. And that picture depicts the show models that we have there. So what is the interesting fact about this development? They are planning to allow customers to select some features of housing units. That is a quite interesting approach, because in the mass housing production approach, you build houses to stock. You just work with predefined drawings, and perhaps you just need to build the same house over and over again, as the case of the picture that we saw before. Nevertheless, when you are planning to do some sort of customization, then you have to deal with customer orders and with customer wishes. That means that your production system has to be ready to work directly upon customer inputs. And in the practical case here, the developer cannot build any house if they don't have an order, which challenges significantly the production system. So particularly in this case, the customer can choose the type of house. They can use a number of rooms. They can use some add-ons in the houses, like a balcony, for example. And then they can actually select the location, which is quite beneficial for low-income households. And as you can see, this is the main the site plan of the project. And according to this information that is captured at the sales point, the developer has to start planning the construction phase and then the construction stage of the project. So how the developer was capturing and communicating the information captured at the sales point. So this is a simplified process diagram. And at the sales point, different sales agents collect information from customers, and they start putting all this data in spreadsheets. Literally, these spreadsheets were sent over email to the next stakeholder in the process, which is the planning department. And upon this information, the planning department has to plan. In the practice, the planning department was printing out big drawings of the project site. And in one hand, they have this information about the different plots in the site, and on the other hand, they have this Excel sheet there. And they have to start mapping what are the different houses, the different models that goes in the different plots in the construction site. And upon that information, when you have that information consolidated in these drawings, then the team moves to construction. So as you can see, this process is a little bit time-consuming. It's very strong in manual effort, and the developer wanted to automate, the gray steps that you see in this diagram. So we created interactive plan, which is an application that collects customer inputs at the sale point and plot them in the project plan, so you know upfront what are the different models that goes in the different plots. This is an app that is built in IDMPR, and IDMPR is an ERP system that the company uses for this project. The app literally builds 2 layers of Java code. As you can see there in the screen, in the layer 1, you have only the project plan, depicting the different plots in the project. And then every single plot in this layer is anchored to an XY coordinate that is replicated in the layer number 2. In the layer number 2, however, you only have different color and shape codes for the different housing models. And then in a third step, the system overlap these 2 layers of information, and then you can see what are the different housing models that goes in different portion of the construction site. And that is what this system does. This is a screenshot of the user interface. As you can see in your right side, you can see there the different plots with the corresponding number and different colors inside. And as you can see in the left, you are able to see what is the legend of this coding. And that means what are the different housing models that are anchored to the different plots. You can, of course, here filter information, put zoom in and zoom out the plan, trying to figure out, or you can find information that is relevant for you. And the information is accessible to internet. And if you have an authorization to get into the system, you can immediately get real-time information about sales and where the houses are being bought. So as a result of this experience, we were able to reduce the lead time. That means that by automating all these manual steps that were done in the planning and capturing information from customer at the sales point, we were able to put this information immediately for the construction team, so we receive a customer order and we can start construction without any time of planning in between. We improve communication because the information is there available to everyone in the organization in a visual way. That means that the information is not anymore in someone else's hard drive or in someone else's email account. The information is there available to anyone who can access to the system. And then, of course, we share the information. All the information is there available for the people so they can produce the houses accordingly, and we can activate different elements of the supply chain, actually. And as a conclusion, out of this paper, we can see that the implementation of IT contribute to handle the complexities of a customization strategy in affordable housing construction. And actually, we are finding other type of use for this application. The developer is actually using all the transactions that are recorded in the system to improve the design of the following stages of the process. That means, for example, trying to eliminate for the offering those features of housing unit that are not very popular, that are not being sold. And in that way, we are continually improve the design of the project according to the customer orders and the customer wishes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.